The invasion of Crimea was a really good buying opportunity in Russian stocks. I wonder if the same is going to play out here under the two scenarios of invasion and not invasion. Would you be a buyer of say, Russian stocks?
The answer is yes. And I think that the buying opportunity is right now. As we speak, you don't have to wait for a war. There may or may not be a war. I lean to the view that there will not be, but it's kind of like a 60-40 thing. I mean, if put it this way, if I woke up tomorrow and found out that the invasion had begun, I wouldn't be surprised. My assessment is that they're not going to invade, but it's a close run thing, and they could. So again, don't be surprised if they do. Don't be caught off guard by that. But that said, the opportunity is right now because people. Well, I see people. You find this in the United States quite a bit. They treat Russia like it's a developing economy, an emerging market, but not a very good one. I mean, not compared to and they always tout China, but there are other emerging markets, Brazil, and some others. Turkey's not exactly top of the list these days, but there's some good ones. But somehow Russia, they're all just a bunch of peasants drinking vodka with nuclear weapons, and there's not much to. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. They have the largest landmass in the world. That doesn't by itself doesn't mean necessarily all that much, but they do. It's full of natural resources from end to end. They have some demographic issues, but they still have, I believe, the fourth or fifth largest population in the world. They have the largest nuclear arsenal in the world. They're the second largest oil producer in the world, one of the largest, maybe the largest natural gas exporter in the world. And they have a lot of industrial capacity. So the U.S. disparagement of Russia is ill-informed, biased. There's a lot of anti-Russia hysteria in the United States, which I don't understand. I mean, I did my graduate work in the 70s, but even going back to undergraduate and earlier in the late 60s, that was the height of the Cold War. I've studied Russia for all those decades. I've been to Russia, and it's a beautiful country. And is the population shrinking a little bit? Yeah. Do they have some economic difficulties? Certainly, but they've got great technology, great natural resources. A well-educated population. The run of social problems, but a lot to back them up. So why you wouldn't look at it and say, well, there's a lot of potential here. And when you see it get knocked down because the ruble is devalued and they're anticipating sanctions. I mean, the thing is, Vladimir Putin has two sports, chess and martial arts. And, plus he was a spy and he got a lot of training and a successful politician in St. Petersburg before he got to Moscow, before he became president. So he thinks, 3 moves ahead is hard for anybody. I met Gary Kasparov a few times. Maybe he can think 4 moves ahead, but it's hard to do. But he's at least 3 moves ahead, probably 4 on a good day. And so only he knows what he's going to do, maybe a few generals. And he may just be keeping his options open. I think that's likely, invade, not invade. Well, if you give him everything he wants, what's the point of invading? And if he starts to get what he wants, then he won't invade. We'll see how the United States handles it. It's not clear to me that the biggest warmonger here isn't the United States. For now, you get into more arcane issues, three cushion bank shots. If there is a war and you cut off natural gas from Russia, who wins? The answer is Saudi Arabia. Who controls Saudi Arabia? We do. And instead of the petro-euro, you're sticking with the petrodollar. So there's a view that, the United States has some ulterior motive here, but it will play out in the energy space. But if Putin can get a fair amount of what he wants without a war, there's no reason to start a war. He wants Nord Stream 2 open, and when it is open, Germany will be a subsidiary of Russian natural gas, Gazprom. It's about that simple. Ample hard currency reserves, whether it's euros or the dollar. And by the way, I always say that Elvira Nabiullina is the only central banker in the world who knows what she's doing. She's the head of the Central Bank of Russia. She spent over a decade building up their gold reserves. So gold, I'm talking about physical gold bullion stored in Russia, not the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. It's about 22% of their total reserves. They got the reserve position back up over 600 billion. Of that, about 22% or 140 billion approximately is in gold bullion. You can't freeze gold. You can't hack it. You can't freeze it. You can't seize it. All the things you can do in terms of digital dollar payments, you cannot do with gold. So they've already insulated themselves to a great extent. So yeah, I'm bullish on Russia. Everything they've got, the world's going to need more of, whether it's oil, natural gas, gold, special minerals, special metals, rare earths, et cetera. And I think the buying opportunity is right now.